My name is Ken Mazur. I'm a professional guitarist and composer. I live in Los Angeles, California. I began my career in New York City. I was a session player on maybe 50 albums. For the last 20 years, I have been a composer in California, working primarily on television and film projects. I also, in the 80s, worked as a jingle composer, writing jingles for Chevrolet, Honda, Nintendo. I enjoy my work. I love music. I believe it is an incredible thing to do with your life. It is spiritually and intellectually and creatively really rewarding. For a young musician trying to start out, there's a few things I would suggest. The first thing is you need to set yourself a specific goal. What is it you're going to try to do? Meaning, do you want to be in, let's say, the rock world? Do you want to be a session musician? Are you trying to be a composer? And if you're going to be a composer, are you looking to be a classical composer, in the legitimate world? Or do you want to be in the film or television world, or perhaps write jingles and advertisements? You could, of course, also be a songwriter. And in setting yourself out to choose one of these things, you then have to make it a very strong effort to get the skills that go with that. And those skills are not just musical skills, they're also business skills. It is very true that in terms of getting started, it's who you know, not what you know. If you're going to make your living in the music world, it's a music business. You need to remember that you need at least a minimum of business skills. You have to understand how to network. You have to understand and investigate where is the dollar in various aspects of this business. A budding musician in the United States, pretty much as a session musician or someone who wants to get into the business from that end, wants to be in LA, New York, or Nashville. Those are the three places. That's not to say there isn't work in Chicago, or maybe work in Dallas or Houston and some other cities. But if you're looking at a grander level of work, a work where you can be a constantly working session musician, you need to go where they make film and television shows, where lots of records are being produced. Globally, I would say well, it's kind of obvious. I mean, in Britain, you can go to London, maybe Glasgow. You really want to play the percentages. I mean, you're going to stand a better chance of getting a job in a community where there's 1,000 things going on than you are in one where there's 5. Because there's 1,000 people going for every one of these gigs, which is another thing I should mention. You can never forget the fact that competition in this business is absolutely astronomically tough. I mean, there is always a new guitar player in town who's better than you. This is just the way it is. You just have to be humble and go with it and realize you do what you do. You don't do what they do. There are two schools of thought in terms of being in the arts, particularly as a musician. One would be to be a generalist and the other is to be a specialist. A session musician in general is a generalist. But within that genre, you will become known, typecast, as you would say in the acting world. For instance, I was an R&B session player. Having a mentor as a young musician can be very important, both artistically and career-wise. If you can find someone to turn to, both as a role model, for instance, as a player or as a composer or whatever, or someone that just has information that is really, really useful to you, it's invaluable. I also really think it's really a good deal to have an artistic mentor, if you can have one. If you're a songwriter and you can hook up to a known songwriter, and it's almost like being an apprentice in a way. Personal manager is not your agent. Personal manager handles your career, your choices, interacts with your agent. In a rock band, your manager, you'll have a tour manager and a personal manager, or maybe they're the same person. As a composer, and probably as a songwriter, you pretty much have to do most of it yourself anyway. You have to be able to trust this person who's going to manage your life. Do your diligence. Find out who your manager is. Find out who they've worked with. Find out what their successes is. Find out how much money they have. Nobody cares about your business more than you do, including your manager. Know your business. Know where your money is. Know what's going on with your publishing. Know what your contracts are. Read them yourself. And if you don't understand them, have him explain it to you or get a third party to explain it to you. Don't go blindly into anything.